Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of ClueCon Weekly. Joining us this week is an old friend of ClueCon Weekly and telephony in the open source world, Diego Gosmar from Italy. Thank you, Diego, for joining us today.
Thanks for having me here today. Great to see you.
Happy to see you too. These days, you are Chief AI Officer at XCALLY, right? It's a relatively
Correct.
new position, I will say. How is it going?
It's pretty good. It's a fantastic role, I would say, and it's a new role. Actually, I'm inside the AI. I've been inside the AI, I think, for the last 7, 8 years. But now, yeah, there is a need in many companies and organizations around the world to have a person in charge of the AI strategy. So yeah, I'm dealing with AI technologies, last cutting edge technologies, but not just that. Also, there is all the ethical side, compliance, training, events, evangelism, and yeah, of course, and that must be also aligned to the business need of the organization, of course.
Absolutely. So you had a very interesting talk at ClueCon last year. What do you think? So could you give us a quick highlight about that before we start talking about ClueCon itself? But I'm curious because apparently I was pulled out of the room right when you started. I could only watch part of the video, but I'm very curious to. I know it was one of the most successful talks. So I'm curious if you could give us a summary.
Yeah, that talk was about the use of conversational AI for, especially for use case with people with disabilities. And yeah, I, I showed a use case where a person with disabilities used um, customer care and the conversational AI powered also by signal wire.
Mhm.
I think setting up something with the SignalWire API and the AI agent to support that. So the guy was in need in some help during the use case, so he was able to interact with the customer service using the SignalWire agent and got the proper support. That was a live demo as well, and it was nice. Yeah, it was also very good to play after that in the AI roundtable, sharing experience and idea about that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, ClueCon is always a great conference, so I thought this could be a good topic for today. So, how many ClueCons have you been at, if you remember?
Yeah, I think around five.
Oh,
Around
good. Yeah,
five.
so you're right. Me too. I've been trying to count them, but every time I try and count them, one more comes up. Like, oh no, you were there that year too. Oh, good. You're right. It's
Yeah.
between being a speaker, between being an MC, just visiting. It's been a while. So, what's your favorite thing about ClueCon?
Well, there are more than multiple things. I like very much the social evening, of course, but I would say great presentations with both theoretical but also very practical use cases in the. And I like very much the openness of that. So there are people from everywhere from worldwide, so they can show different perspectives and opinions and use cases. So what I like about that, it's I would say the community is, I think, the most powerful thing of ClueCon.
Well, yeah. I mean, ClueCon this year is going to be August 12th to 15th at the Drake Hotel in Chicago. Go check out the website. But I think more in depth, what I wanted to ask you is clearly AI. We haven't finalized speakers yet, but clearly AI is going to be very, very prominent at the conference, like any other conference. Like honestly, I've seen AI creep up in places where it shouldn't have been. A friend of mine was at a conference about furniture, so office furniture, and one of the talks was about AI in organizing office furniture, which sound like it's great, but I guess if you need a chair to sit on, you just need the chair to be under your butt, not elsewhere. So I don't know how that works, but what do you think in telephony and open source and, well, in ClueCon in general, what do you think we're going to see at ClueCon in talks regarding AI? Or in general,
Well,
what's happening in the industry right now?
I actually been playing about AI in telephony since 2016, and but the time it was basic. I would say machine learning AI set up to have some static legacy interactions. But I will present also, but I can see on the market now, I would say in the last 6 or 8 months, is the real possibility to use the new generative AI models, fine-tuned and properly usable to create, for example, custom AI assistant, and at the end of the day, very powerful conversational AI solutions. It was not possible at the beginning. I mean, when ChatGPT and all the other hype large language model came out, because of course in the telephony and in the organization, in the business, we need something not so creative, very much precise, professional, I would say. But now, I can see a lot of possibilities to deploy generative conversational AI on one side. On the other side, there is all the possibility related to the conversation analysis in the telephony, or in general in the conversation world. So the possibility to analyze the conversation and get some insights about that. And that's not just about emotion, sentiment analysis. It's a lot about the possibility to get really inside the content and the conversation. So that's a vision about, I would say, the technology. Then there is also a lot of, I would expect, talk about how to properly deploy that, both technically, so scalable and so on, and also, let me say, ethically. So all the compliance, all what's going on in Europe and United States right now, especially. But it's, I think, at the right moment. You know that even in United States, I've read that the Biden administration released an order to hire a chief AI officer in every federal institute there. That was a couple of months ago. So that's something new, definitely.
I think one talk I would like to see, and I might actually put one together because I've been working on that, is something about regulations that are upcoming, the AI Act, etc. Especially in Europe, a lot of people have been saying it's too harsh, it's too many limitations, it's putting us in a bad position compared to the EU. But I've read through the act multiple times, and I've spoken to lawyers that specialize in that. I don't see anything that's too bad in there. Like, there's literally just saying don't do bad things with AI eventually. What do you think about the European regulations that are coming up?
Yeah, I think I've been working in that actually with a group inside the Linux Foundation. Now we are preparing. We are preparing a kind of a training related to what NIST is doing in the United States and the EU Act is going to happen in Europe. But everybody around the world seems that they are looking at the EU AI Act as the most advanced one. I think it's a good thing because it sets clear rules, and one of the, also from the business point of view, problem we can have is that when we navigate in uncertain rules, it's not very good. No. So basically, the EU AI Act provides 4 levels of different risks and try to classify the applications there. So of course, there are some applications that require more control and compliance, and some others that require less of that.
I think what you said is very important. People think regulations will make business problematic, but in reality, having clear rules is what helps you invest with confidence in a sector. Like, if
I know that very well.
Yeah, if you don't know what's going to happen, like something is going to be made illegal, but you don't know exactly what or how, You never know. Well, you know what? We're not going to start this project because next week the EU might say we're going to do it. If there's a rule, you know the rules, and you can go work with the rules, and it's much better. So as long as the rules are not do not use AI, because for a while I was worried the EU will ban LLMs or something like that. What happened with the Italian privacy officer and ChatGPT, where they closed ChatGPT for months, actually, right?
Yeah, well, it seems not the case. I also see there will be a lot of possibilities for startups and community working on open source projects to make experimentations. So without being too much subject to the rules at the beginning, that's good for laboratory labs experimenting. Yeah, I was afraid of that. But yeah, that seems not the case. And yeah, I agree. Rules are important, of course, if they are good rules. But one to give you an example, one of the most reason I find some countries particularly successful, like for example Switzerland, is because they have very clear rules. Investors know exactly the rules; they don't change randomly,
Yeah.
and that creates a lot of confidence.
That has been very often cited as a problem for Italy and
Yeah,
many other European countries. It's not that we have laws or a lot of bureaucracy. If you ask a foreigner that has studied the markets and see where to invest, what it will say is the problem is not the rules, but it's the rules change, which is the bad thing. Like
absolutely.
if there's a rule that says you're not allowed to do a thing and you're never allowed to do it, nor will anybody else be allowed to do whatever it is, it's fine, and then you decide, I want to go into that market, I don't. In Italy, so I hope the EU regulations is going to help a lot. Another thing I want to touch on, though, you mentioned that what you see happening in the market is smaller AIs that are fine-tuned for the specific task, right? Not
Yeah.
more, not the bigger engines anymore. What do you think is happening in that market? Like, is open source finally getting there? Because aside from Llama 3, which is technically not open source, there's not much because of the cost of training AI. So, can you elaborate on that? What do you mean by saying there will be smaller, fine-tuned AIs? Maybe a couple examples.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think we will still, of course, see big corporations playing with large language model, very powerful. Okay, OpenAI just released GPT-O. Google came out with a new one. There are, I don't know, Anthropics with the Claude and so on. And of course, that requires a lot of investment and resources. But now, technically, it is also possible to, for example, if you come to Hugging Face, which is one of the most one of the largest, I would say, repositories for AI models in the world. It's the GitHub, or I would say, of AI. You will find something like almost 7,000 AI different models, which is a huge number. Maybe
Yeah.
people don't know about that. Of course, a lot of those models maybe are just experimental. Maybe even some of them don't work completely, but the number is huge, okay?
Oh,
And you
yeah.
can
That's
find that there are very niche AI models. I don't know, maybe you want to have a model specialized in recognition of Vietnamese idioma. You will probably find something there. And there are
Hugging
also a
Face
lot of,
is 200,000 different models
yeah,
in the role.
it's an amazing number, yeah. I was surprised as well. This is an example I always do recently at some talk, and some of them are open. It means that also small organization can normally decide that they can download or they can use pre-trained models and then they can do fine tuning on those models. And of course, the fine tuning doesn't require so much resources like the full training from zero. For example, in
Yeah.
Italy, the University in Rome just released a real Italian large language model trained from zero with one of the largest computer
Wow.
network, the Leonardo, which is one of the most powerful hub in Europe. And of course, that required a lot of resources. Okay, it wouldn't have been possible without those resources. But yeah, what I can do now, if I interested only to apply AI for specific niche application, yeah, I can choose among a lot of possibilities and do fine tuning of that, and I will get quite good results, in my opinion. So
Yeah.
on one side, we have large language model trained from zero, very powerful, but yeah, very computing and resource need for that. On the other side, we have the possibility to work on vertical specific AI models for specific business needs.
I think what is very good about what's happening in the open source community is that while it's hard to do very large models using resources that are available to open source, there are a lot of smaller, very specialized models that are actually pretty good. Look at transformers or a couple others that are used for vectors, etc. The gap is always going to be the fact that to truly train, as you said, to truly train a big open source model, you still need the money. And we discussed this on a program earlier. It's a weird thing where open source is usually something you can download from the internet and you can use it, or even sit down and write code and then you can use it. While with AI, you'll need resources that not everybody has. So there is, I think that gap is going to be there forever, I guess, unless someone comes up with the GPU that costs $1, which is not going to be available
in the
for a
short
while.
term, no.
Yeah, but I think a cool trade-off is what's an open weight model. So they don't give you how it was trained. You know what the data it was trained on. Not necessarily. They can also give you, but usually not there. But the model is fully trained and usable, like Llama Tree. So at least you can use that. It's still not technically open source. I never. I'll be honest. I'm not a licensing expert. I don't know if that's actually open source or not. Probably not, right? Because you're not getting the
It's
software
open
that
to free,
made.
but
Yeah, it's free. It's not open. It's something that you don't get the software that made it. It's kind of like calling an image you made with an image editing software open source. The image, you can give away the image for free, but that doesn't make it open source. You need the program that made the image to be open source to actually be. It's really it's a remarkable time. Well,
yeah.
so
In
going back to
Europe, we have a Mistral, which is a powerful, one of the most powerful large language model developed mainly in France, which is,
yeah.
like you said, open weighted. They need to check because they are saying in the website we open source both pre-trained models and fine-tuned models. So yeah,
Hmm.
it's a good question. We need to elaborate on that if they actually release the full code to do the training again or not.
Yeah, because that is what's actually open source.
Yeah.
I don't think there are many actually open source LLMs. Like of those 200,000 that are on Hugging Face, about probably 80% of them are variations. Like you can look at them and see it's a Mixtral fine-tuned for coding. It's Llama fine-tuned for stories. So it is really, but I don't know if there's many real open source implementations of LLMs. I'll be super honest. I'm not even sure it matters that much because in the end, if I gave you a working implementation, you will still
And we
need.
need a lot of money to to use that as open source. Yeah, I agree on that.
Even if they
So
gave away the code for Llama took something like 8 million hours,
yeah,
8 million
yeah.
GPU hours to train. It's I don't even want to make the calculation because it will just make me sad about how much they spent on running it. So it is,
Yeah,
even if they give you the code, it's not really possible to do it. So going to
yeah.
concrete applications, what do you see the most immediate impact in well, telecommunications and AI being? Replacing call center agents or something else?
No, there are also other applications, as I told you. Of course, yeah, there is the conversational AI, which is big. It's more about um, yeah, automation, but there is also a huge application in empowering, actually, if we are talking about the call center agents. So what usually a customer care agent can do now, it's a lot of things faster and better with a much better performance. For example, I can very quickly access to a knowledge base with the help of AI, where it was not possible before. So there is all those, and yeah, I've been working on that as well. There is all the possibility for AI agent assistant, let's call that in that way. So AI is, in my opinion, a powerful tool that can help the people that are currently working in many industries, including telecommunications, of course. So to perform faster and more performance job. Of course, that also require knowledge, awareness, I would say. So people will need to change a little bit both mentality and also get some training to do that, I think. So education, it's really important for that, not to stay behind.
Yeah, I think that's a very very good point. It's important to learn more than anything. Then after you learn, you can start implementing, and that's probably a good starting point. I think that is learn what AI can do, and especially don't be afraid of AI anymore. There's a lot of fear mongering in everywhere in the press and politicians saying that AI will take jobs or whatever. And so far, I keep reassuring people that even there was a lot of layoffs in the tech world in the last few months. Those were not due to AI, even if they say it's AI.
Yeah.
Those were due to overhiring during good periods. It's how tech works. Like they hire a lot of
Yeah.
people during the good periods, and then they fire a lot of them in the last good periods, but it's nothing to do with AI. AI hasn't taken a job so far, in my opinion. It will happen. It's going to be a shift, but it's not happening at the moment. I mean, or
Yeah.
do you think AI is already taking jobs right now?
I'm not sure about that. I think people are afraid of mainly what they don't know. And but if you learn, if you are able to understand and be aware of what is going on, you will be able to use these powerful tools. And in my opinion, there will be a lot of new jobs coming up. So yeah, maybe some jobs will not be. I wouldn't say jobs. Competence needs to be renovated. That's a point. But at the end, I think that there will be a balance in that. So yeah, for example, my role will not be something existing a few years ago. You know that your research tells that 65% of the child of the children now of the newborn they will do a job not yet existing when they will grow, and I'm one of the example. I'm doing and you probably as well. We are doing jobs that were not even existing when we were born. So I think we need not to be afraid, but yeah, we need to learn humble, and that's the key point.
Well, yeah. So in general, these are all great topics, which I'm sure we'll hear more of at ClueCon. Are you coming to join us this year, by the way?
Yes, I will be there, definitely.
Oh, good. So come talk to Diego. Come meet me too, and we'll talk about AI and what the future looks like. It's always a great conference. So again, ClueCon will be from August 12th to the 15th at the Drake Hotel in Chicago. If you'd like to book using the conference rates for rooms, the booking ends on July 15th. So remember that. And other than that, we'll happy to see you all and happy to meet Diego in person again. The fun part is that me and Diego don't live very far away from each other. It has to be like an hour and something, but I don't think we've ever met in Italy.
Yeah, probably not. We always meet in Chicago, so looking
Yeah.
forward to meeting you there again.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's a common thing for many people in technology around here. Like I have a colleague that lives 20 minutes away, and last year we only met in the United States
Yeah.
twice. Like I could just walk to his house, but we met in the United States. Well, again, Diego, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure having you, and looking forward to meeting you at ClueCon.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Diego Gosmar, Chief AI Officer at XCALLY, joined us today. And thanks again. And for the rest of the people, I'll see you next week. Goodbye.
See you at ClueCon.
Bye.